research.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Little Big Circle, where we're little in size and big in conversation. And I am your host, Peggy.
And I'm your co-host, Jadea. Hello, everyone.
Yes. And so our topic is for today is defunding the police. Should we defund the police, and why? And I would ask you to introduce yourselves on this podcast first. I'll start with Miss Kelonda.
Hello, I'm Kelonda Robinson.
Okay. Next, Jamalo.
What's good, everybody? It's Jamarlo Brown. I'm so excited to be on this podcast and talk about this topic tonight.
Wow.
I can't wait.
I'm excited now too. Yay!
Yes. Okay.
And I am Tessie Johnson, and I too am super excited to discuss this topic. It's something that I've actually been having little conversations about, so I'm excited to see what today's conversation will bring.
All right. Alexandra.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Jones, and I'm excited as well.
All right, Jadea, take it away.
So I'm just so excited. Everyone's so excited.
I know.
This is so great.
Yes.
Especially because it's such a deep topic. So
yes.
I'm ready to dive in. Who wants to go first? We're defunding the police. We'll start with you, Tessie.
Okay, so here's my thing. A lot of people say, oh, defunding the police. And so it's like, well, what does that actually even mean? I know I keep seeing all this stuff about, oh, they're going to defund the police. And if you need to call 911, nobody's going to be there. And, oh, the world, will just turn into a lawless, horrible wasteland and this, that, and something else. But again, what does defunding the police really mean? Because to me, what it means is looking at money that is given to different police stations and saying, what are these officers being called to do? And then using some of that money to redirect towards a lot of the non-violent, non-emergency, non-police needing things that happen that police are called out for. So defunding police means, to me, getting more money for mental health resources. So when people are in crisis, they're not calling 911 and police come in guns blazing. They can call some other 11 and get some real actual services. To me, defunding the police is doing more community projects. I know when I was younger, they had the Police Athletic League, and you don't hear much about stuff like that anymore, to where the police can actually build relationships with people in neighborhoods and the children in neighborhoods and make having communications normal, so that when there is something going on, there are reasons why you would want to call the police instead of just feeling like, oh, if I call the police, people are going to end up dead, and whatever the crime was I was calling about is never going to be solved. So for me, I think that when people talk about defunding the police, they need to explain better what it is they're meaning specifically, and not just saying, oh, we need to defund the police, because I think it's causing a lot of confusion with those being the only words that are said.
Great.
Marlo, I would love for you to hop in on that.
Well, for me, the defund is a hard no for me. I think if we really want to address the issue, it's really a people issue that we have and not really a police issue. Behind the badge is a person. If the person has hate in his heart or any type of malice or strife that's going on, it can spill out on a person. So defunding the police, it's not a good thing for me. I think it needs to be more so a training piece that needs to be added, talking about interpersonal skills and level of communication with people, how to really problem solve talk a person down, because you really are, any type of these things, when you talk about police men or women getting a bad rep, it comes down to a person. It hands down as a person. I have many friends that are policemen. I work in a school that has school resource officers, and when the police are there, they add a presence to the situation where some people may nut up, some people won't, but they still have that present there. But you still, they'll still get a bad rep just because they're wearing a badge, not identifying that some things are just people issues and not necessarily a whole thing going on. I'm gonna say that right there.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Kilonda.
I'm just gonna piggyback off of what he said a little bit. I'm in agreement with what he said. I don't believe that we should be defunding because of people's character and how they're using the badge, because you also have, then you will go into a whole nother can of worms. You have teachers that are responsible for our children who has been used race issues and said things to our children. And so do we stop teaching? Do we stop paying for teachers? You have different areas where it is a people thing, where there is a race thing, where some people are using the shield as their cover up. I believe there should be a deeper depth of the how you get evaluated psychologically as a police officer. I believe you should go in background for a police officer if you trying to come to be a police officer, because these things reflect, as he said, as a human being, how we operate. If I was a victimized woman, broken woman, a man always beat on me, and I get into a position and it's more men than women on the job, and then they start getting loud or they start doing certain things, and my nervousness from where I came from, I react on where I've been, what I've been through. So I start acting crazy. I start fighting them. I'm arguing with them all the time. It disrupts everything. So I just think that what he was saying was true. Like, at the end of the day, there are some police officers who are believing being for the people. And I think if you just start defunding stuff, we have to think about the criminal side of things. You understand what I'm saying? Like, okay, all these people gonna start thinking, because the police ain't the only one shooting people. You know what I mean? So if we start defunding them and the people that's going around killing and shooting other people for no reason, what are we saying to that? Like, we're gonna allow the cities to just run rapid, to run wild, just because we believe there's a glitch in the police system, so we just stop doing certain things? I think this matter need to really come under some real consideration and look or behind all avenues. Don't just look at it one-sided, because just like with this pandemic, a lot of stuff we were doing and it got taken away from us, it made a difference. And it made you look at things a little different. You understand? Because we was only looking at it at one side. Oh, a pandemic. Oh, shut everything down. Nobody do this, nobody do that. But it was a lot of confusion came out of that. People were protesting, want to get out their house. So I just think what the young man said, I agree that I think we need to take it a little more in depth. Don't just shut it down because we all in our emotions. We all into the protesting. We all into that. There's a bigger issue if we start doing certain things that's going to come out of this. So that's my words on it.
Right. Alex?
I think some of the money should be reshifted into, having the police officers evaluated in,
Right.
interims. Just like military, when you're exposed to certain things, it can, make you jaded or, cause you to stereotype situations because you've seen it happen, over here. So I think there should be, intervals where they have to check in, so to speak. They have to check in more often. I know that they already have a system where, if something is reported, but I think even before it's reported, I think every police officer has to have a guidance counselor, so to speak. Our kids have guidance counselors, and they don't even have, situations where they're having to, break up chaos. So police officers should definitely have guidance counselors, someone who is, checking in, seeing what their mental state is, allowing them to decompress if they feel like, things are getting a little bit too heavy, allowing them to have not just time off, but time off where they have to see a therapist and, see if they're able to come back to the job. People who work with radiation, they wear those badges, you know what I'm saying, that say that they've been exposed to too much. They kind of need to have some type of temperature check as well, because that way they'd be able to say, well, there are a few more situations before this person might snap. They might be able to catch it before that. Also, I'm a realtor. I have to go through so many classes just to show up, just to properly sell a house. However, I hear that, police officers have minimal training when it comes to with mental health or, in different situations. So I think that they also need to, up their training for one, reevaluate the training that they're already getting, make it public knowledge. So, their public defendants, public officers and what's it called? Servants, they're public servants. So they need to allow the public to see how they're actually serving, and we can weigh in if that works for us.
So Camden, New Jersey, defunded their police department in 2012, right? So when they first initially did that, their criminal rate went down 42%. Since, I'm not going to say the numbers of police killing young, innocent Black men have risen, it just has become more aware. We've become more aware of it because of technology, right? But they're arguing that in Camden, they have not really, their main issue was, their main reasoning for defunding their police department was because they weren't allowing the community to police themselves, right? So they were getting people from, I don't know, let's say Brooklyn to police Camden, New Jersey, right? So with that being said, once they fired, I don't know the actual number, but they fired almost half of their police department in 2012. And the rehiring process, they had to go through a mental evaluation, they had to do extra tests. I think tests that most police departments don't do now, right? They had to make sure the person wasn't mentally unstable, because if you get a person who came from the military, has PTSD, you cannot expect him to know how to diffuse a situation properly, right? He's thinking, oh my gosh, Baghdad or wherever he was in war at and saw, his soldier friend get blown up. The minute he thinks someone's gonna pull a gun out on him, he's, oh my gosh, he's instantly back into wherever that situation was because he didn't get the help that he needed, right? So it's a cycle that continues. So that's what they're studying now with in Camden. How, if the police do get defunded, they're going to put the funds back out into the social economy, I guess, so you can say. So there's mental illness back into the schools. Will that help with the current situation of our killings? Is defunding the police and giving it into the mental health spectrum, giving it to the schools, giving it to I don't know, put it into urban farms and stuff like that. Is that going to stop the killings, or can it help stop the killings? What?
Absolutely not, to me. Absolutely not. I don't think it would help stop the killings because police is not the only one killing, as Kiki said, And my thing of it is that we got to bring it back to our neighborhood. Look at our polices. We all are different. We are different places right now. Look at your police in your neighborhood. should they be defended? Should those police that you see in your own neighborhood, should they not get paid? I want to know, I want to bring it to where you are right now. You know what I'm saying? And I want to know, should they get paid? Like in Huntsville, Alabama, in Alabama, I think some should get paid and some shouldn't, and it's on the reason of that is because it's so much killing, but we're killing, to me, this is a whole different topic, but we're killing ourselves, to me, Jamala.
Man, okay, all right. I'm finna pull back a layer here. So, if we want to talk about our present community, you're looking at from an establishment of generations of you missing. You had an old grandma sitting on the side. Well, she would get you together if you was acting a fool, and then tell your mama. So then you're addressing a generation of, now we have, oh, I don't want you to touch my kid and all this type of stuff. You don't want me to check them. But then you start looking, you look at the police that's in your community,
yeah,
where sometimes you see it where the policemen are engaged with the community and they're actually out there with the kids playing football. They're out there, just bringing the stigma off being a policeman or a woman, just being a police officer, period. They're bringing that stigma off of it, but you still have to address this issue with it's a person, because when it boils down to it, if I got that in my heart right now and I go to work and I'm upset and my wife or my girlfriend, boyfriend, children that made me mad, whoever, if I don't address my mental health issue,
right,
or how I can process what I got going on, my emotions, and address it, then we still gonna be in the same situation until we identify, hey, if you got something going on in your mind right now, you upset, do not come to work, period. Don't come over here, because trust me, leave.
okay,
Somebody gonna pop off. It's gonna be a reaction. Most of these things that we see, it's a reaction.
Okay,
Go ahead, I'm
God.
sorry.
So what I'm saying now, my question to you now, what as a people can we do about it? Tessie.
I guess the first thing is going back to family and community. When you have, people always want to talk about all this crime in the Black community, like there's no crime in other communities. There is crime in every community there is. It's just what kind of crime is being put out there to be stigmatized as something negative. So when we look at the Black community, it's always, why are you mad that the police are killing you when Black people are killing Black people all the time? But watch like the ID channel where they have like actual shows that talk about all these crazy murders that have happened, and it's usually white people or not Black people committing these crimes. And it's been a cycle of, when Black people kill Black people, those Black people just don't know how to control themselves. But when other communities of people do the same thing, then it's, oh, well, this person must have been mentally disturbed and all this other stuff. When it comes to policing, we first have to be able to say, as far as me and my house, this is what we're going to do. And then we take that into the community, and then we take that into the greater community. And that's what people are not doing. I don't know how many times I had to go to my son's school and they're like, oh, your son is doing whatever thing he's doing. And I'm like, oh, he's doing that. Oh, well, why are you so mad at him? Well, because you called me to the school and told me that he's being bad, and now you're upset because I'm checking him. I want you to know it's not acceptable. I can't make him behave 24 hours a day. But if you call me to the school and he's doing something wrong, I'm not one of those parents who's going to say, oh, honey, that teacher is just, no, you just don't have to listen. No, because you do have to listen. And that's the problem. A lot of it comes from people not taking responsibility for their own actions. And until the police have to take responsibility for their own actions, then it's going to be a problem. You cannot tell me the police shooting people down and murdering people almost every day, all the time, everywhere. Like, it's not just one pocket of one place where this is happening. It's a countrywide issue where the police have been given these rights that they don't have to be held accountable. And it's not, oh, every single officer is evil. No, because you can't say, I want to punish every officer and then be mad when every officer looks at Black people like, oh, you're a criminal. It's that big picture. Everybody wants to say, oh, the police killed this one person, but they're not saying, okay, the system as a whole is broken because the system allows for it, and the system keeps allowing for it.
Good.
I think it's wrong for people to kill people, whether they're the police, whether they're criminals, whether it's a dog attacking somebody. Killing people is wrong.
Right.
But if somebody is paying me to protect people, then I should put more effort towards not killing those people I'm being paid to protect.
All right, Kiki, come on in on it. Come on, I see you on the edge of your seat. Come on, girl.
I'm just like, my thing is going back to what you said with the community and looking at Martin Luther King and all of them who went out in their communities to take back their communities.
Yeah.
If it was with the buses, if it was with police officers. And I just look at the community part as us becoming a whole to be able to say, okay, we will not stand for this. I live in a community where it's predominantly Hispanics, and the Hispanic police officers take care of their Hispanic community. I don't live around where you're getting shot at every day. I don't live around where they're having picnics and they're having programs for them with housing. They're having programs for their children to get coats and all of this stuff. They're repping their community, and they're keeping their community flowing with the police officers. So it's becoming more of an issue with me with culture of Black and white. Like, we're the only people on this earth. You understand what I'm saying? Where it's just the Black people are crazy and cons and all of this stuff, and the white people is against it. But we have to now realize, like, as if we're gonna go culture, come on, Black people, we gotta come together. We gotta stand in our communities to say our children need to get the same treatment as any other children. Our families need to be protected just like any other family. I think if there is an issue like that, I believe it should be bigger punishments. I believe that just as much as psych evaluation, if you do harm someone or you do something, you are going to be held to the utmost responsibility. You understand? It's just like chastising children. If you keep letting it go, if you got 3 or 4 children, everybody going to start doing the same thing. But when you take that one and you make an example, it kind of trickle down like, mommy crazy, daddy crazy. I'm not doing that. You understand what I'm saying? And using that as an analogy of us, again, as a community. We have to say, we're not going to tolerate it anymore. Like I said, I don't see a lot of crime over where I'm at because there's a lot of Hispanic people, and they stand for their people. They get together, they do block parties, they get together, and the cops don't bother them. They ride around watching the community. They got neighborhood watch. I'm like, okay, where is our community? What are we doing? Because we have to be an example as well. We can't just blame the police. We have to become examples of ourselves, that we care about ourselves and our lives just as much as the police taking our lives.
Good. All right.
What a way to talk.
Yes.
Just, piggybacking off of what Tessie was saying, I don't think that the system is broken. I think the system is doing exactly what it was designed to do. The police were put into effect to round up slaves. That's where policing started. So, there's so much information that's available to us. I mean, constantly just letting files that were once, classified, become unclassified. And I mean, when the Black Panthers were around in real effect, they actually had, something COINTELPRO, where they put, drugs into the Black community and, had certain things that were actually government, put in place for the reason of destructing the Black home. So, I mean, the Black Panthers, they wanted to take accountability for their neighborhood. Everyone was accountable for each other. And I think that's something that's very much missing. I mean, it's very common in the Black household. You hear, when you have those kids, those are your kids, I'm not watching, those are your kids. Every other culture, Chinese people, you have kids, grandma coming from China.
Yeah.
You're going to watch your kids until they're able to go to school, or you're going to send those kids, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's an accountability for the entire unit. Like, Kiki, you were saying, we don't have that camaraderie as a culture, but a lot of that was part of the system that was given to us. They put us against each other on purpose. So, we have, just divide and conquer. Everything there's a strategy behind it. Don't like this person because of this, even down to how they structured projects. It was for a reason. So no one felt like they had their own, we all share this address, so I think some accountability needs to, some uniform accountability. We need to talk about how can we all get on the same page, or what do we feel is acceptable for us to be accountable for each other. I want Jadea to say, this is what I'm going to do when I see your kids do this, and I'm going to say, I trust the village, even if I need to trust the village, So we need to have a little bit more of this uniform camaraderie, where everyone knows that we're looking at each other for the common good.
Yeah, well, back in the day, everybody looked it out for everybody.
Yes.
Back in the day. I'm telling you, you get a beating from him, you get a beating from your neighbor, you get a beating from your teacher. Everybody got a beat, and I got a lot of beating. Okay, so I know back in the day, it was like, we had accountability to my neighbor's child. You know what I'm saying? So, this topic is so good. We're going to have to do a part 2 of this probably tomorrow or the next day, or we're going to have to get back together because, it's around that time, huh?
There's so many facets of this.
Yeah, so we're going to have to pick this up on a part 2 on a later date. And but right now it's time for our game. Woo! I bet you didn't know. Woo, 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 woo. Bet you didn't know this. I bet you didn't know I was a Jehovah's Witness. I bet you didn't know I wrote a book in poetry. I bet you didn't know. I'm getting it. I bet you didn't know. Oh, that I bet you didn't know I marched in Jackson State University. Bet you didn't know. And I bet you didn't know. Okay. I bet you didn't know. Okay. I'm trying to get it.
It's okay.
I know, I'm telling you. The conversation was so good today. And I bet you didn't know I played a clarinet, tuba, and saxophone. I even marched in the band. And I bet you didn't know I got a twin. And I bet you didn't know that I have a heart disease. I'm gonna go with you first. Which one was you, Kilonda?
I'm the one with twin, identical twin.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yes, I mean, you don't know who you talking to.
But I knew that.
Yeah, but see, you don't know who you talking to. Okay, okay, Jadea.
I bet you didn't know that I'm the one with the heart disease.
I didn't even know that, and I love you.
Okay, Jamalo.
I bet you didn't know I marched in Jackson State University. Band Sonic Boom of the South.
Nice.
Rep.
Yes, Tessie.
I wrote a book with my mom, but yeah, it was nice.
That's
It was
beautiful.
fun.
Yes, yes. And I bet you didn't know I was a Jehovah's Witness. Some of you know, but I bet you didn't know.
I didn't know. Yes, no, yes, I did. Wait, you didn't do your? I bet you didn't know
Yeah.
this one.
And I bet you didn't know that I played the trombone,
I didn't.
clarinet, and saxophone, and was in the marching band.
I thought that
Wow.
was. Really thought that was.
I bet you. I tell you, it's some stuff that we did not even know. But I'm gonna pass it over to Jadea for our last remarks. And Jadea, I'm asking you, should we invite them back again to our show?
Yes, absolutely. All you guys. I mean, it's great having you all have good conversation. And you're well versed. Like, I love seeing our beautiful Black people who are well versed. It's just good to be able to have different types of conversation with the same kind of people, you know, like, it's beautiful. So I thank you, Kiki. I thank you so much for being on. Tessie, I thank you for being on. Jamarlo, I thank you, my brother, for being on. Alex, thank you so much for you guys' input. Like, you guys are so awesome. You guys are just, you exude intelligence. Like, I don't understand why we aren't on a bigger panel, but sooner or later we will be there, y'all. Okay.
And with that note, I would say, as your host, good night and peace.
Good night and peace
Good
out.
night.
He's so true.